All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in at Southside Live. It's Johnny from Casino Gaming Central. Here we go. Randall says, "Good blizzard." Good morning. You're in Massachusetts. My God. My family, and I have family in Jersey, obviously, so they're fighting through it right now too. When my wife and I first got married, she's from Washington. Obviously, I moved out here way back in like '91 or so. We got married out here and moved back to Jersey. And our first year back in Jersey was the year that we had that big blizzard. Remember the 36 inches of snow we got in Philadelphia that one year? That was our first year here. And I'll never forget that because I've seen a lot of snow when I was a kid. I went to college in Michigan too. But I remember in Philly, the Ben Franklin Bridge, they had taken all this, they were just shoveling and dumping snow off the side of the bridge and off, the causeways there. And the snow was up probably halfway from the Delaware River up to the bridge. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was absolutely insane. Anyway, you're going through the same thing now. So good luck, everybody over there. I know that a lot of folks have no power, and it's just the whole thing. So hopefully everybody's all right. And just hunkering down, man, like you do. Kevin Farm over here in Hawaii doesn't have that problem because that doesn't happen over there. You guys don't really get the big snow out there on the islands, but it's a real thing. Anyway, let's hit it today. A lot of stuff going on out there in the world, huh? So before we start, I have this is gonna be hopefully a nice interactive question for y'all, or interactive show. Good morning, Lou. I got a surprise from Lou for everybody, by the way, end of show today. So anyway, yeah, good morning, Waylon. Let's see. So yeah, before I start the real show, we got to make sure we do our normal thing, which we can never forget to do, right? And never forget means never forget. Never forget why we do the shows. And Waylon, thank God you're here. Duracell, thank God you're here. Remind everybody why we do this, right? Casinos are out to get you. They're out to take all your money. And we all know it. Hopefully we all know it. I know it. And that's why we work so hard to do these shows every day. And I want to shout out Fran from Casino Tears. The other night I was on his show last week, and he gave me some props during the show. And he said, "Hey man, I just want you to know I appreciate how much work you put in to your shows." And I don't think people really know how much work it takes to put a half-hour show on. It's a lot. It's a couple hours almost every day of planning and thinking and putting screens together and all that kind of stuff to do a little bit of just spend some time with y'all every day. So we do it because we believe this, right? If we don't do it and we don't repeat the message every single day, you'll forget. Or somebody new comes in and goes, "Oh, I thought I was there to win money." You're not there to win fucking money. You're there to not get bankrupted. That's it, right? So keep this in mind. And again, the tools that we can use to kind of fight through it are the bridge. And we talk about the bridge all the time here. It's understanding your bankroll, what it's capable of, how it protects you, how it can hurt you, right? Understanding how you view risk. What is your risk profile? Do you love risk? Do you hate risk? Are you scared of it? Whatever, right? How do you see opportunity? And again, it comes in two forms, right? Opportunity to leave when you're up, opportunity to stay and lean in when it's going great. Can you identify that? Do you have the discipline to execute when it's time? Do you set goals, and are your emotions in check? All these things are the only tools you really have. And notice, like I said last month or so, all of those things are here. They're mental or they're emotional. Bankroll is the only thing that's actually a tactical thing. And it does prevent you from doing stuff, right? Not having bankroll means you can't play Waylon stuff a lot of the times. You can't do what Ken's doing, right? Ken's playing with $6,000 to win 300. Most people can't do that, but that's what it takes, right? There's been a couple of times where Ken in his shows has gotten just about dunked and worked his way back. Why? Because the bankroll is there to support it. And then he fights through the variance and gets back to where he needs to be. Most of us can't do that. So as you're watching the shows that people do, keep all this stuff in mind. It's really important to keep in mind what your strategy, skill, brain, heart, all that combines to let you do. And we're going to get into that in the next few weeks or so. But I just got to level set all the time because people forget and they think that this is easy, right? To go to the casino and win. It's not easy to go there and win. And to quote my friend Waylon again, sometimes you got to be satisfied, right? Dr. S, I haven't seen it in a bit, but great comment here, right? The fool and his money are soon parted. Don't be a fool. And I think not understanding how your bankroll supports everything makes you a fool in some cases, right? You foolishly think you can do this. And unless you really understand or have a relationship with that bankroll that's different, you're going to have a tough time. All right. So now that we're done with the ABCs of gambling, and by the way, I want you in chat today. I would love for you all in chat today to come armed with criticisms, with ideas, with whatever about how that series went. I know most of you in chat, I can see your names now, were watching live with me, and a lot of you had commented afterwards. We're going to revisit the series today. I want to go through it a little bit, and I'm just going to really take some notes as we go. So any thoughts you have on it, today would be a great day to share some of that with me so I can improve for the next time. All right. Waylon, by the way, great point here. Been playing live at Bubble Craps lately. Most people don't have the 5K, but and here's a thing. Let me just say this, and Waylon, hopefully you'll back me up on this, right? Using $5,000 or $6,000 to go to a real craps table and try and win $500 on the regular, give it to you. It's possible to do that, right? Especially with some of the strategies that you've put out and that Ken's playing. Most people don't have that, but they foolishly think that they can. Don't have the ego that says I have to do that, right? Waylon's been playing a lot of Bubble Craps, and he puts videos out, him and Alicia both, right? It's okay to sit there with $500 and make $1 or $2 bets and grind that shit out all day long. It's okay. It's fun, actually, to do that. There's no shame in playing with a small bankroll. Like, never be ashamed of that. I think we talked about ego in the ABCs a lot, and a lot of people make bad decisions at tables because they want to be like the guy next to them, or be with the crowd, or don't want to look like a fool. It's okay to sit at a bubble machine for $1, a bet, and practice and get good at your craft and learn strategies and see how things work in the flow of the game. It's fine to do that, right? And hell, you can make money along the way. Waylon will tell you, you make money along the way as you do that. It's not something to run from. So be okay with that. And that's, I think, what the bridge sort of goes into. All right, let's hop on in here to some more things. Now, I want to get into this show becoming more of a regular thing again, like it used to be. So I know I've been going every day and we talk live. I want to start reintroducing some of the things that made us good back in the day, and we're going to kind of revisit. And I want to rebuild, if I can, or be part of the rebuild of the community. Now, we talked about this offline after the show with Casino Tears, how the community, it's kind of funny, the craps community specifically gets a little fractured. And as I dive into the roulette community and the blackjack community, because I'm spreading the channel out to do other games, they're also a little fractured. Roulette people especially are really like, they're in their lanes, man. There's no community in roulette. It's just like this guy, that guy, or that guy. That's it. There's no like real crossover. And blackjack's the same thing. There's a couple of guys that kind of work, but most of them are just like my way or my way, and that's it. Craps is interesting. For a while there was a Craps Nation community, and then it kind of fractured a little bit. And then there was, that, and then me and Jeff and some others had some stuff going on, and then Alfredo broke out of that, and then we all kind of fractured. And then you had the Casino Tears group and the Biloxi group, and it's like we end up getting factioned a little bit, right? Which is weird, and you end up like kind of following these lanes, right? I really believe, and I said this 5 years ago when I started these shows, we have a responsibility among us to grow the game. Speaking of craps in specific, but really roulette, the same thing. Roulette to me can be what craps is in terms of people coming together and finding ways to play, win, survive, and just have commune, right? I would like to do more of that. So be better, do my job better, and try and bring us all home. So I'm going to go back to this where I talk about the schedule. And I will go and do my homework and find out when everybody's lives actually are. The ones that are regular. Full of Chips, by the way, is doing a premiere tonight. They usually do their podcast. They drop it in the mornings usually on Mondays. Today, they're doing it at night. They're going to be a premiere in chat. We all need to go. Everybody who's watching, and there are now, I don't know how many of you watching. How am I going to see? There's 37 people watching. Everybody get your asses to Full of Chips on YouTube. Like and subscribe. See you in the chats tonight. We'll go out there and we'll chat with those guys tonight. Okay. Casino Tears. Fran's doing Thursday nights. I think it's either every Thursday or every other Thursday. Live. I was on that with him last week. It's great. He's bringing people on from around the country to talk about their areas, who they're playing with, just tales from the table, but like recent tales from the table. Great stuff. We should support that. Everybody get in there and chat it up in the comments, right? That's how we grow this stuff. And I think the more of this we can do, and I'll highlight when I find consistent schedules, and we'll get it published here, and I'll go over it every May so we don't forget. All right, so I'll take that responsibility on of reminding us all when things actually are. So, all right. Also, I'm going to try and bring back, if I can, when it's relevant. It's not always relevant, but a little bit of news. Okay, a little bit of news. So, for example, today we'll talk about the Vegas economy a little bit, and the Vegas economy is interesting, isn't it? I don't know that it's an indicator of the world economy or the U.S. economy, because it's got its own little micro thing going on down there. But for a while, we know it was trending downward, right? It was definitely going the wrong direction, Vegas, for lots of reasons. They did it to themselves. There was a concerted effort to not care about the small-time gambler. There was a concerted effort to bring in not even just whales. Like, whales are a special breed, but like the high-end people, the people that can buy in for 10 grand every time they come, right? That are buying the Gucci handbags and doing all the expensive shit you do in Vegas, right? There was a concerted effort to really target those people. And it turns out, and with the high-end restaurants, you know what I'm talking about. Everything went like from like regular person could do it to nobody could do it, like really quick. I think Vegas learned what they should have already known. And I was saying this to somebody last week. It's like, we are the house edge. And I want you to think about that. You are the house edge. If you think about the Vegas economy, right? The house edge on a craps table, by the way, is about 1.5%, right? On the low end, between pass line, don't pass, and whatever else. But the game makes about 16%. Why? Because people make bad decisions with other bets. But by and large, the casinos grind out their entire economy is based on the 0.5% they're getting from blackjack, the 1% they're getting from Bach, the 5% from roulette, and the 1.5%, 2% they're getting from us at the craps table. That's the engine of the economy. It keeps the lights on, it keeps the people working, it pays the bills, it does everything. It keeps that city alive. And then those other people, right, the middle tier to high end gamblers come in. That's where their profit comes from. They're making money on those guys. We keep it alive. Well, guess what happened? We stopped coming. We stopped being able to afford it, and we stopped coming. And guess what? The high end people don't keep that city alive. They don't play enough, often enough to keep the city going. They lost the edge, and they're finding the edge again, right? That's why you're starting to see the low end tables. You're starting to see better room comps, right? David's been saying all for the last month. Now you're seeing some of the hotel fees go away to get us back, because they need the house edge. They need to grind us out to stay alive. They're realizing that. Now, two things have happened in the last couple of days here that I think are going to hurt the economy down there pretty bad. And again, one nice thing about working for David is that you get a lot of insider information. A lot of the Vegas economy, by the way, which you may or may not know this, was Canadian and Mexican. A lot of money came into that town from Canada and Mexico. Well, it turns out, since the election, Canada kind of hates us, right? For lots of, you can debate good or bad reasons, but they don't like us that much. They aren't coming. Canadians aren't coming like they used to. Maybe that will turn. Maybe the relationship will get fixed, but right now it's tense, and they're like, we're not coming. That hurts. That hurts Vegas. There's a lot of those mid-tier people coming down. There was a lot of the grinders coming down. They ain't coming anymore. Mexico stopped coming for the most part as a result of a lot of this stuff too, right? With the whole immigration thing and blah, blah. They got mad at us. They weren't coming. They started to come back. But yesterday, a couple things happened, right? Number one, USA, the hockey team, both of them beat the Canadians. I'm sure that's not sitting well up north, right? So, I mean, I made the opening today. I love me some hockey, by the way. I used to, as much as I love baseball, I coached and played hockey for years. From when Zach was 4 years old, I was already playing as an adult, but anyway, love me some hockey, right? And man, both those games were super tense the entire way through. It's like the 7th game of the World Series. Both, they're awesome. Anyway, I'm sure Canada's not so stoked about that. Maybe they'll stop coming. I don't know. But Mexico yesterday, my God, again, for good or bad, right? Some pressure got placed. The government took action, and they took out a bunch of bad dudes yesterday. And that country is in chaos right now. That chaos is bleeding into now. Right now, today, you've got people that are stuck down there, and pray for all the folks from America that are stuck in their vacations. They can't leave, right? They're shelter in place. That country's going to be a little bit effed up for a little while. I doubt they're going to come back. So I wonder how much of the Vegas kind of the upswing that was on is going to be quelled by some of this stuff, because you're going to see a little bit less travel. Anyway, just food for thought. It'd be interesting to watch what happens in that Vegas microeconomy with all the world stuff that's going on. All right, that's the buzz. If there's more news, I will share it here. It'll be a lot about the Vegas economy, I'm sure, coming up. But as things happen out there, I'll try and share at least highlights of it. I know that Fran on Casino Tiers wants to do deep dives on Vegas buzz. I'm just going to give you the bullet points, and hopefully he can go deeper, and other people can go deeper too. So, all right. Now, everybody, thinking caps. Okay, thinking caps. I would love your thoughts on this. The ABCs of gambling, right? We had fun, at least I did, with this series. I really enjoyed the ABCs. But I want to get from you in chat. And again, there are how many of you here? There are 30-something people, 41 people now. What did you think of the series? And don't just say it was great, John, because that's not going to help me, right? I love the kudos. I had fun doing it, but I want to make that series better because we're going to do it again. We're going to do the ABCs of craps, the ABCs of roulette, the ABCs of blackjack. I may do the ABCs of money management at some point. I may do the ABCs of strategies. Waylon's got a book of strategies that probably has more than 26 in it, right? I'm going to try and get 26 of them. But we need to talk about how that thing went. And I'll give you some of my initial thoughts. And please, in chat, on if you're looking at it vertical or horizontal, let me know, which version of our show you're watching, the horizontal or the vertical, or whatever. And what you thought of that, what I can do better. I'll give my first thought. My first thought of it was a grind to do it every single day. It really was. I mean, it took me, without exaggeration, a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours every day to prep the shows. And unlike right now, where I'm just kind of talking to the camera, on that one, I actually made bullet points. And what you see on screen, by the way, the word ABCs and all, that's all a big PowerPoint, right? I basically do these shows where I have my camera fit inside of a PowerPoint. Those PowerPoints had sometimes 11 slides. They had all these notes, and I basically kind of read the notes like a script almost. I was kind of going through it. You probably notice my eyes dropping down sometimes. I don't like dropping my eyes down to read, but there's so much to say on some of these topics. I had to give myself notes, which made me start thinking, it's too many notes. Like, there was too many words for each letter. So question one, should it be not a letter a day, but a topic a day, and maybe letter A takes 5 days to get through, instead of it just A and it goes, right? The YouTube thing is go quick. Have a quick, punchy 3-minute thing that I can chop up later on. The John thing is I got to teach. I got to give you the depth, right? I can't go deep unless I go a little bit long. Does that make sense? Without being the innuendo. So that's question one. Should it be a letter per day, or should it be a letter till it's done? That's the first question I've got. So in chat, if you have an idea of that, throw it out there. The second thing that I was thinking about doing was, do I do it every single day? And yeah, a letter a week potentially is an idea. I was thinking about doing like Monday would be an ABC's day. And I'm going to show you in a little bit here what's coming up for me. I've got a couple of things that are on, like, series that I want to do that are on tap. What if the ABCs was like 1 day a week? And that way you could take, 26 weeks to get through something, right? To get through a full whatever. Because I have other series that I want to do that I'll never get to if I just all ABCs. So that's the two things I'm thinking about. One is, should it be a letter per day or spread that out? Two, I like the idea of a letter per week. That really spreads it out. I like the idea of doing a letter per day like we did before, but once a week. And that way the rest of the week is kind of open for other things. So again, those are some of the thoughts that I've got. So I want to ask you the questions here. So let's see. Let's see more other, yeah, and I will do that. So I think this so the ABCs of blackjack, roulette, whatever, I'm going to do that. What I worry about though is that it's if I do it in any kind of order, you're going to get so tired of blackjack content, you're going to leave, right? It can't be like 26 straight days of blackjack. You guys will go crazy, right? And if I do that, then it's going to be 26 days until I get to roulette, and then 26 days until I get to craps. If I do it once a week, it's going to be a year and a half before I get there. It'll take so freaking long. So I think it's a good idea, this ABC thing, but I'm trying to figure out how do I get it to you quickly, consumably, and in a way that makes sense. Otherwise, I'll go crazy. I can't do an hour and a half a night every single night of all this prep because I'm not spending time with Kat, if that makes sense. So what do you think? So that's what I want to get from you as the show moves forward here. So think about it today in chat. Think about it in your comments after the show. Drop me emails. I do read the emails, and I'll give you a sense of an email that I got here in just a minute of how we're going to start changing some things around here. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the ABCs. I think it was a fun series. I think some of the days I went too deep. I think some of the things were a little too repetitive. They were too repetitive. I think I said the same thing probably 13 or 14 times throughout it. Potentially that's good because some things need to be said multiple times, but it might have got boring. I could do the 101s. Yeah, I could do 101. The problem with 101 is that I need the hook for ABCs, Dr. S, was that it was like, A, advantage play, B, bankroll, C, you know what I mean? It made sense. The numbering of it makes it not make sense. Now, I could do blackjack 101 through 401 and craps 101 and roulette 101. We can do like that, like a 101 of each game. That might make more sense. And maybe that's how we spread the week out, because I think the weeks, what I want to do is get the week Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the very least kind of pre-scheduled. So we know that like Monday is an ABC's kind of a day or a 101 kind of a day. Tuesday is whatever, Wednesday is whatever, Thursday is whatever. We do that kind of thing. We already have kind of Friday follies when I can wake up on a Friday. So that might make sense to make this show a little bit more whatever, consumable and fresh, keeping it fresh. Kevin Farm says the letter takes 3 days. It's okay because we're giving info. I agree, right? But remember this too, Kevin, and everybody. Those of you who are here today, again, the 45 of you or 50 that are here today are watching live. For you, that rhythm makes sense. Most people don't, right? 90% of the views we get on these videos are after the fact. People come in randomly. YouTube drops the letter G in front of somebody at random. That person just jumps into the middle of it and has no idea what we're doing. They don't get the daily rhythm like we get. So I think each show's got to be as complete as it can be so that it can live on its own. If that makes sense. So, yeah, the ABCs of Gambling, Waylon, boiled on one thing: not losing. Be satisfied, which was one of the best shows we did. The Satisfied. It's not about winning, right? It's about not losing. And a lot of gambling and a lot of the books say the same thing, right? Lose as little as you can. That's the whole idea behind blackjack basic strategy. Lose as little as you can. If you catch a good run, right, hammer it. So, all right, slackers. That's funny, Randall. Okay, let me give you a preview of what I've got coming up here. And here's I've kind of alluded to it, but like, what if Monday was, Tuesday was? Here's some of the ideas that I actually have for the shows coming up. So I started this week. I scheduled them out. I may change it actually, but I want to do like a series of fact or fiction shows. For example, trending, fact or fiction, DI, fact or fiction. I want to dive in a little bit and give you my opinion where I can back it up with fact, right? Fact or fiction, and just talk about some of the more controversial things or some of the more misunderstood things. And I think we can do a million of those shows, right? So I'm thinking that's once a week. I'm thinking fact or fiction, one day a week is a fact or fiction show. I got this idea for a show called Dig It or Dog It, which would be a comparative thing. For example, Dr. Don't Pass had asked me over chat, what do I like so much about the 1-3-2-4 versus the 1-2-3-4 versus the whatever, right? There's a lot of these little patterns that are out there. Why 1-3-2-4 is my favorite. Dig it or dog it would be a day to go with a parlay versus that. And not just do a versus rollout, which is interesting, but really talk about why I like one or the other and really compare them. And then we can say, I dig that, or we can dog it. That strategy sucks, or whatever. It might just be a one thing. Like, let's look at the skill 66, really break it down and say, do we dig it or do I dog it? I think it'd be kind of a fun series to do. One day a week. One of our subscribers wrote me an email, a long one. And he said, hey, one thing you can do is teach us how to use the bridge for real. Like, you talking about it is nice, but really saying, okay, what does risk assessment really mean? How do I match my risk to my bankroll? What does it really look like? So not just put out strategies, but maybe take a strategy that somebody else has created and run it through the idea of the bridge and how does it fit, right? And how do you manipulate that money in your rack or on the felt to manage a streak, to understand how you identify something but still keep yourself safe, money management stuff. So I can do the bridge in practice. Maybe it's one day a week kind of a thing, right? And then of course you've got the idea of simple as a pimple, right? And maybe, and actually this week's closing thought is this, right? Simple as a pimple could be something like, the thing I found over the years, all the years of playing, but really more the 5 years I've been doing the YouTube channel, is the more complex things get, the harder they are to execute, number one, the more conditions you place on things to happen to make things work. I found that just simplifying things makes my life a lot better, right? The math guys will tell you, pass line max odds, simple as you can get, right? Whatever. I don't enjoy that way of playing, but there are other ways to play that are simple like that actually work better than doing all kinds of crazy shit. So anyway, those are some show ideas that I've got. And I think we can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's Fact or Fiction, Dig It or Dog It, The Bridge, Simple, Friday Follies. And maybe like it's a 1-0, maybe even Monday is ABCs, and then it's Fact or Fiction, Dig It or Dog It, The Bridge, and the Simple as a Pimple. Maybe Friday Follies is become Simple as a Pimple day instead of something crazy day, right? That's kind of where I'm seeing myself wanting to go. But really, what do you guys want to see? That's the real question. What do y'all want to see? So john@procrafts.net is the email address. You can leave comments on this video or anywhere on the channel. I'll put a community post out there too. Obviously, you're chatting here live today. So yes, I want to go to trending. Have to go there. We have to go there, Ian, because it's fun, right? That again, if I just said things like, place 5 versus place 9 or whatever, right? It'd be boring. You gotta have some juice, right? Get people to watch. All right, that's the what's next. That's what I think I'm planning on. I'll do some Fact or Fictions this week, but I think we can do a bunch of those over the course of months. Okay, so that's essentially it for the day. I don't know that I have any questions and answers today that I haven't already seen in chat. So I'm going to go and jump to the last bit of the show here, which is this. We start every day with the bridge. I'm going to end every day with focus. Now, this comes to us from Louis DiGarelmo, who's in chat all the time. He's hunkered down in Atlantic City right now, waiting out the snowstorm. But this was Lou's response to the bridge. And I think we should remember this, right? We can start with bridge concept. We can end by staying in focus. Follow your plan, observe the conditions, control your emotions, understand the game and the odds, stay disciplined, focus. You start with the bridge, you end with focus. And interestingly enough, the focus acronym that Lou gave us, just like the bridge, 100% of it is here. Not one bit of that is bankroll. Not one bit of that is where my chips go. Where your chips go and how you move them around and how you put them into your pocket, that all comes down to discipline. You can do everything you want, and it comes down to discipline. I got a show for you tomorrow that's going to be called, I think I called it Fact or Fiction, the 90-10 rule. I made this statement a long time ago, that 90% of the gamblers walk into a casino and at some point are ahead. And 90% of them walk out a loser. And there's the casino's house edge. That's their game. 90% of you walk in there and you are up at some point. 90% of you who are up at one point leave down. You just can't help yourselves. I'm going to show you tomorrow the beginnings of an AI that I'm building. Right now, it's simple strategy runner. It's no more complicated than I want to run a strategy, and it runs it and gives you some data. That will show you, though, how close I am to being right about that thought. I've always had this thought because I experience it myself. And I'm going to show you tomorrow with some light and small runs just how true that really is. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. It leans into the focus, leans into the discipline, which appears on both the bridge and focus. All right. And my final words for today, I'll leave you inspired, hopefully a little bit of inspiration with this week's quote of the week, which I found very fascinating. An idiot admires complexity. A genius admires simplicity. Neil deGrasse Tyson said this. I saw it on one of his podcasts the other day, and I laughed out loud because he's kind of a cocky dude, right? But he's super smart. And he was trying to explain something really complicated. And he's like, let me break it down for you. He's like, it doesn't have to be complicated to be understandable. And it doesn't have to be complicated to work. And he was explaining whatever it was in the universe. And he made this quote, and I wrote that right down. Because it fits our world perfectly, does it not? Does it not fit our world perfectly? Right? The more complex you make things, the more people go, ooh, and they want to see the next great strategy, the next great move to make, the next great whatever it is, and people are like, oh, just eating it up, right? Ultimately, the simpler you keep things. Waylon, back me up here. Ken, back me up here. The simpler you keep things, the more consistent your life becomes. Now, if you have a simply stupid thing to do, your life will become a downward trend. If you have a simply smart thing to do, you'll tread or trend upwards. Okay? Admire simplicity. Find ways to keep it simple. The simpler it is, the less mistakes you'll make, the easier it is to do, the more you can enjoy your surroundings while you're executing. And that, again, in gambling and in life, these quotes that I find out there in the world always work for both. So with that said, have a great day. Have a great week. God bless y'all. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.